Hey everyone, this is John, and I've got Anna Baker with me, and we're going to talk about some of Anna's journey today. Anna is the worship pastor, worship leader. She can kind of fill in her title, and at the Oak Ridge Church in Maryland here. So let's go ahead. Anna, thanks for being on here.
Yes, thank you for having me. Yes, I am the worship leader. I am not ordained yet. What else do you want to know?
Cool. Yeah. Well, tell us about, a little bit about you, about your church, how long you've been there, some of, maybe a little bit of the structure of your ministry, because you've got, a pretty unique situation there.
Sure. I came on staff in 2014. I've been at Oak Ridge since 1999, but I came on staff in 2014 part-time, and in 2015, I shifted to a full-time role in Salisbury. And at that time, the worship leader at the time was transitioning out and moving back to Texas with his family. And so I kind of had a little bit of damage control, just where we had a couple worship leaders come in and out, and it really caused some tension. So the beginning, my role was really to build relationships. And so I love my team. That was our main focus. Also, I'm married, and I have my father is actually the senior pastor at the church. So not how I got the job, but it is a nice thing working with him. He's a great leader, and where I learned a lot from. But our church has two venues that offer two different styles of music, and then we have one venue that has the message. The other venue, the message is pre-recorded on a screen. I know a lot of churches do that now. So I am the global worship leader, meaning I am in charge of overseeing any venue. We also have, a middle school venue, so I oversee, make sure that they're successful, both adult venues. But I'm also currently in the role of live venue worship leader, which is our main service, which is where the live preaching happens, which is why it's called live.
Cool. Yeah, cool. And you got married recently, right?
Yes, I got married in September 25th of 2021.
Yeah, I remember that. I had to figure out a new last name. You
can't.
When I first started to get to know you, I'm like, oh shoot, it's not Anna Moss anymore. Yep. Fantastic. So that's awesome. So you essentially have several teams under you, but then you're also leading a team. You're leading at a service. So talk to me about some of the things that when you first came in the ministry. What were some of the challenges? I mean, you talked about the fact that you had some damage control for some other leaders. What were some of the things early on that you had to deal with?
It was kind of messy. It was the different things, such as there wasn't great structure about, hey, how often are we going to rotate a new song in, or great structure about, repeating songs and doing this many songs at this point, so our band isn't overloaded. We didn't have a great structure with hey, we should schedule the same people together often so that, it's not a mess. So I think, other than damage control with relationally, there was a lot of organizational things that needed to happen, just kind of clean up as far as planning center and messes, and making sure hey, let's actually focus on creating a team here and a team here that gets really strong at what we do. So that was a big piece when I came in.
Cool. Yeah. And you did some good work there, really, because when you and I talked, as we were, talking, I mean, you've got a really pretty solid program, if I can use that term, in place to keep things going. So talk to me about what some of the things were that, as we were connecting late summer, early fall, what were some of the things that you were looking at improving or wanting to change as we were talking?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I know a lot of people who come in, they need help with, the song cycle, the stuff, things about the organizationally that I had already kind of put in place. So for me, it was more accountability with a group of people where I can grow in my leadership. I can have accountability with you one-on-one, and kind of more focus on goals. And one of my biggest goals that I'd love to achieve is moving out of the position of live venue worship leader and just more focusing on global. And so that was part of the thing. I said, I don't really know how to get there. I need some other worship leaders to help me to develop people. So developing leaders and then getting the right people in the right place. So I think, when you come into an organization that's been doing what they've been doing for so long, there are some leaders in place that, you're like, this isn't a great fit, but this is just how it's been for years. So getting the right people in the right seats and getting everyone on board to one vision and making sure we're all, working together towards the same goal.
Yeah. And what would that do for you if you're able to move out of that leading at a venue and able to be more of that global leader as your church has it defined it?
Yeah. So for me, it would move me more out of having to stress about making, doing Sunday morning well, and shift and say, okay, how can I equip these people to do Sunday morning well so that I can be on the back end and more of like a cheerleader and a champion for all venues. Whereas right now I try to champion all venues, but on Sunday I'm locked in to one place. So if I had, room to kind of like move about the cabin, that would be awesome. And so that would look like more freedom for me, but also more ability to do what I love, which is more, relational stuff. So being able to move around and then fill in where needed, if I needed to play on a Sunday, but ideally, I could kind of give that to other leaders. So,
yeah, that would be great. And for someone your age to be talking about that, and you can share your age if you want to.
Yeah. Oh, I'm 27.
27.
I don't mind.
So yeah, I mean, for someone your age to be sharing, to be thinking about that vision of not being that main upfront person, but actually being the champion. I mean, usually it's people that look more like me with gray hairs that are thinking about that, but that's fantastic. Do you find that it fits with your natural gifting and strengths and things like that? Is that why you're thinking more that way?
Yes. And although I do believe I'm also gifted to, lead on Sunday morning, but I also, it does fit in with my other gifting as well. And I think I could really, be a good champion of all, if I can just pass that along to other people. I just didn't really know how to do that. And I think that's a question for every leader that every leader asks at some point is, how do I develop other leaders? Mm-hmm. And so I was just kind of at a standstill, like, I don't know, but I need other, and maybe even outside of my organization. It helps sometimes to have a coach like outside of your organization to help you, because we're all, we're all trying to do the same thing, but it's nice to have some outside perspective too.
Yeah. That fresh voice and those fresh eyes on things. So, I mean, we're not doing this case study because you've somehow all of a sudden accomplished everything you've already wanted to. You're in process of still working on that idea of moving out of that position. Unless some things have happened that you haven't told me about.
No, not there yet.
Not there yet. But what are some of the things that you've implemented so far to try to move to that place of being the person that's, more the champion, the encourager, the equipper?
Yeah, I've spoken to one of my leaders about being more invested in the live venue and really like, hey, how about you, start picking the songs, start working with the teams, start doing that. So I've been working with her and kind of challenging her. And we've recently had a shift in leadership in the other venue. And so working with some other people to see who is the right fit for that role, but not like jumping and just filling a role because we need to fill it, but really figuring out who is the right person. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, there's been a lot of like changes, definitely, but I think it's all good because it's all leading to a place where like, hey, we're going to be in a really good place to, be successful as a team.
That's good. One of the things we didn't mention up front is just for context, your church attendance and your church size, just so people can kind of know where, what kind of church you're in.
Yeah. So I think we've been averaging. So we kind of considered, our church and I'm sure a lot of churches do this, is like, it's a whole new ball game after COVID. And it's really like, we're kind of starting over because, we shut down. And so we've been averaging probably like about like 900 in attendance on a weekend. I want to say pre-COVID, we were, around like 1,600 or something. So we're getting back there. We're seeing our numbers shift back up, but I want to say about 900 adults, I could be wrong.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, the senior pastor's always worried about the numbers more than the worship.
Yeah. I'm like, are people engaging? I don't know how many.
Yeah, as long as it's not empty. So cool. So what kind of so what sort of either tools or different things have you used from either the coaching group or some of the other things that we use in there to kind of help you?
Oh, more recently, I will say, because we recently had a tryout and she said, "Oh my goodness, you guys are so organized." But that was from the stuff that I stole from you all. And you guys use, I think, a Dropbox to put all your files on, click tracks for them to listen to, all that. We use like OneDrive, which is pretty much the same thing. And I did that. I stole your sheet. I kind of made it my own and was like, for when people want to try out, I have another tryout soon here, that it just made it so much easier. And I feel like I didn't have as much follow-up work to do. I used to put them in planning center before I even knew if they were going to make the team. And it was like, that just didn't make sense. And if you guys don't know what planning center is, it's just a site that I use that some churches use to, plan our worship sets, but it didn't really make sense to like put someone in there if we didn't know if it was going to work and give them the songs through that. And then I have to be monitoring it. I just put everything into OneDrive. I know everything is there for a male vocal, for a female vocal, for a, guitarist, for a pianist, whoever's trying out. So that's one of the things. And then I also did the, I forget what the challenge is called exactly, but it's to make your goals for the year's ultimate planning challenge. Yeah. And so that really stretched me because I was like, man, I really need to be thinking on a more quarterly basis. Like, hey, what am I doing this quarter with my team? What do I want my team to accomplish? And I haven't even told John this yet, but this month we're going through Practice Matters, which is together, which is some content from the site. Just really cool. Every Sunday we're meeting and just watching it and discussing. And that's been good. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that, I've found is valuable for leaders, and I found it valuable too, if I could get my hands on it, is just done for you content. And if we can't create it for you, then if we can create a process that you can just kind of put in place and customize, and the forms, we always try to make it so it's just easy. I mean, it's that little practical stuff that, okay, why invest these hours doing it yourself if you can just put this into place. But so that's great. The tools and then Practice Matters is fantastic. I'm excited for your team to go through there and have that shared common language. Any feedback so far from your team, good, bad, or ugly?
No, they've not, as far as no, there's no bad. They have, they've really enjoyed the videos and the content. And it's like, a lot of them are like, yeah, we know this. We just need a reminder every once in a while. And for us, this is really crucial because we are moving into a season where we're opening a new building in a few months and, expanding our main venue. And so we're moving back to having a weeknight rehearsal where that was cut years ago. And it's been so hard to get that back. And we really need to shift back to that. I was fearful that people would be hesitant because they're like, oh man, another night out of the week when I've had, and we're doing everything Sunday morning, but they get it because they're like, well, yeah, if we ever want to do more, or like, have more freedom in worship, we can't continue to do Sunday morning. And I'm like, oh, thank you. They said it, not just me.
Yeah.
So it's been good feedback from them to see the video, to have the discussion questions. And, they're like, wow, yeah, I really need to challenge myself because I'm maybe a 6 on the scale of how well do I rehearse or whatever it is. So
yeah, no. And that's always, it's nice because there's something about that hometown prophet where you can say it till you're blue in the face. And then they hear somebody else say it. And even if it's something they just need reminded of, it's that outside voice that can be helpful. So, but yeah, that's going to be fantastic. And then you're seeing them have ownership of it. And that's something where as you guys are watching this, anytime you can get your team to own, or even a few of the people to own the change first, before even you take it wider, or as you're taking it wider. I mean, it's just so much easier because people trust their peers. Not that they don't trust us leaders, but we're driven by a different thing than they are a lot of times. And in that, we're thinking a lot differently, but if their peers are buying into it, then, their teammates get it. So cool. So fantastic. So, all right. So, anything else that you've been working on, or you're, going through, or anything like that you want to talk about?
Not right now. I mean, we just had a major conference at our church, so I put some things on pause. But as far as, like I said, that ultimate planning challenge has really kept me focused on what I need to do quarterly. And like I said, what our goals are. And I've even met with one of my, assistant leaders. I've never called her an assistant leader. So if this comes out, I don't know when but I mean, that's basically what she is. And she helps me a lot. And, just about hey, what are our goals for this quarter? What do we want to do? What even fun events that you want to have? Because it's so important to be thinking of that too, because if you want your team to be unified, you need to, plan those ahead of time. And so it's just been good.
Nice. Cool. So, we are, as we record this, we're about a month from Easter. So, is where you're at now, is things you're putting in place. How is that helping you come up on bigger holiday things like Easter? And then as you even implement more, like when you get to Christmas, how is some of these structures and systems going to help?
Oh, I already planned our Christmas meeting and put it on the calendar. I was like, I'm going to do this now. So a month ago when I was going through the challenge. So going into Easter, we started talking about that. Me and like I said, the other, worship leader on team, we started talking about that in January. So we feel so good about it. We still don't have, because, albums are coming out, all the songs prepared, but we have our team scheduled already. We scheduled that last month because we're we just want to go ahead and schedule for Easter. So I feel better about those big holidays. Easter isn't as much stress as Christmas is, but like I said, doing that challenge at the beginning of the year, I said, I'm going to go ahead and put Christmas on the calendar now while I'm thinking of it for a Christmas meeting in June. I think all my staff members, wanted to kill me for that. But just because I know how stressed we all are. And I'm if we can get the conversation started early and earlier and earlier, then it's just going to be such a win. So It's good.
That's great. That's fantastic that you're leading your staff and getting them there, and other ministries in the church are going to be wait, what are you doing? And have to, that's something we're finding with several of our leaders in here, is that they're becoming the most organized ministry in the church, which is not usually the case with worship leaders. So, so cool. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about the community that you've experienced inside of the Exceptional Every Sunday coaching group.
Oh, I absolutely love the community. I actually had a Zoom scheduled this past Monday with someone. She had to cancel for other reasons, but we rescheduled, and it's if we have a question or just need prayer or are confused about a system that we may have in place that we're how do you guys do it? It is just so helpful to hear from other worship leaders. And I am all about community anyways. I have a local one within my community, but it's also fun to have some from different places around the states, or I don't know if we even have other people in other countries too, but it's really good to get feedback, because although sometimes I'll get feedback from someone and I'll say, that wouldn't really fit here. It's still great to hear from other churches. And I love it because one person in our group, his church is a lot like our church in their ways. And he'll watch our service every week. And then I'll watch some of his and see, they're doing that. Or, it's just really cool to have a community that you can share things with and share ministry with and ask for prayer for, because we've definitely had that too.
Yeah.
So it's good.
No, yeah. I sometimes I don't get into the Slack group as much as I should. I try to get in there every day and just check things out, but maybe a day or two will go by and I'll be like, oh, wow, there's some awesome, like people are talking and even like the person you were talking about, his church, Matt, he's, he's
knew
probably behind you as far as the attendance. And so he's able to look at what you're doing and go, okay, really, that's the next size level of our church that, we would be moving towards. And so, and so he's able to look at what you guys are doing, learn from that. And you've actually helped him because you guys met and actually talked about some stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, we actually met outside of the group. And then I brought along our tech pastor too, so that we could all, and that's what our church is all about that too. And that's why this community, I was like, oh, I love this community because we're all about helping out each other's churches. We're not in competition. Yeah. So, that's the thing that I love. And it's like, if recently somebody said, oh, does anyone want I forget what it was, but some document that they use for, onboarding. I said, me, I'll steal it. I love that kind of stuff because, it's like we can all help each other.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. No, this is awesome. I've just enjoyed watching you guys just connect. It was something I don't even know how much I had I don't think I had much of a hand in it. People just started connecting and it kind of took on a life of its own, and it's fantastic. And I love it. And we're going to continue to cultivate that inside there. But, as you think about this experience so far, and you're only started in November and we're in March, so you're not very far into it. But from your experience so far, who would you recommend Exceptional Every Sunday to?
So, I know most people would probably be like, I would recommend it to everyone, but I would recommend it to a worship leader who is actually serious about making changes and that is actually like, okay, I need more systems to put in place to help create better experiences. If you have that heart, now, if you're just like, yeah, I want to make change, but you don't actually have any desire, then I'd be like, yeah, it's going to be a waste of time. But if you actually have the desire to make changes, to put systems in place, or are just like, I don't know how to do that, then that's what I would recommend it to. I actually recommended it to a couple of worship leaders recently when we had our conference last week, because I said, man, you are so on fire and ready to put these systems into place. Check this out, so that's what I'd say.
All right. Well, if they come through, we'll set you up well. So with a little referral, thank you. Hey, Anna, this has been fun. Just kind of going through here, because a lot of times we meet, but I don't ever put the whole story together. So this has been fun, kind of encapsulating it all, and just even to document just this first step of your journey in the coaching group, and hopefully even beyond. Would love to keep hearing where you go with things, and how you're able to move from that place of being the kind of boots on the ground leader to really encouraging other leaders and empowering and equipping them. So I'm excited. So thanks for being here, Anna.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And it's a process. It might be like a 5-year plan, but I'm excited to see it move.
Yeah. Well, and it is a long plan, but I'm excited that you, even especially at this age, what you'll be able to do in your 30s, 40s and beyond in ministry is going to be amazing. So I'm excited for you.
Yep. Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you.